after one receiver was paid, another still waits his turn. Brandon Aiyuk still continuing his holdout with the 49ers as his future still seems unclear. San Francisco seems like they should want him on the field to try to get over their playoff hump. The 49ers have had their hearts broken in the playoffs lately, losing twice in the NFC Championship game and then in last season's Super Bowl. They last won a title in the 1994 season. Bart, we'll start with you again. Is the 49ers Super Bowl window closing?
It is, because they're relying on a 36-year-old left tackle who, yes, can probably play to 40 like Whitworth, but we know one thing is true, that credit card bill is coming up. Because if you talk about Dak Prescott and he's about to break the bank, we're going to find out how much they truly feel and value Brock Purdy, because he can make the argument that his statistics and the fact that he's had his team in the Super Bowl, in the NFC Championship, is better than Dak Prescott. So if that's the case, will he make the argument for $60 million, or will he say it's more about Kyle Shanahan? You talk about Christian McCaffrey. He's been healthy of late, but we know his injury history. You talk about the violent way in which Deebo Samuels plays, looking like some of the tread is coming off those tires. And the rest of the league and the rest of the division is starting to catch up. When you think about, it's no easy out. They could be the most competitive division in all of football, but you see the leaders of the new schools starting to come. The Lions are starting to come to the party. Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers are starting to come to the party. This window is now. And if they don't win in the next couple of years, I think they're going to have to reboot and start all over with a new core.
Shannon?
Well, here's the thing, though, Bart. It might be closing, but it's not closed as in 2024 season, because I do believe they have the best chance. And I think if you were to poll general managers and team execs, I think they believe the 49ers have the best roster still currently in the NFC. And as long as Brock Purdy does, like you said, he doesn't turn into Cinderella at midnight and turn back into a pumpkin, they'll be just fine. Because I do believe, now Christian McCaffrey does have that nagging calf injury. It's going to be very interesting to see. He's been out the entire preseason. He gets another 10, 12 days before he has to get ready on Monday night against the Jets. How healthy will that calf be? They need Trent. They need someone to protect that blind side. He is arguably the best. He's no arguing the best left tackle. Who in the hell is arguing? He's the best left tackle. You can make a case he's one of the 2 or 3 best offensive linemen in all of football. He's consistently rated high as both pass and run blocking. Brock Purdy, you laid it out. You laid it out perfectly, Bart. He does a great job. All the stats checks the box. But eventually, you're right. There's that balloon payment that's going to come due. And is it going to be $50 million, $55, or $60 million? I do believe, Stephen A., they have what it takes to get to and challenge. They had some bad luck. The guy had an interception. I was at that Rams game when the Tarrant dropped that interception. That would have sealed that victory for the 49ers, and they go to the Super Bowl. The next year, on the first play, Purdy rips his UL ligament, and now he's out. And last year, I don't know what the hell they was thinking. I'm going to put that one on Kyle because, hell, he didn't know the overtime rules. There ain't no way in hell you're supposed to take that ball and let Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes know what they need to do in order to beat you. Is it closing? It's just not closed this year. The window's still open, Stephen A. You can go to the bank.
Well, listen, the window's still open, but I do think it's closing, and I'm going to throw it out to you. First of all, y'all brought up Brock Purdy's situation. Yep. There's no denying that. Right now, you got Trent Williams, who refuses to show up to camp until his contract is readjusted. We know that. He's not showing up. He's not reporting until his contract is adjusted, so that's number 2. Number 3, guys, 5 years. Last 5 years, Shay. Last 5 years, Bart. The 49ers have been in 4 NFC title games, 2 Super Bowls, and not a single ring to show for it. Now, I don't know about y'all. At some point in time, if you knocking, there's 2 theories that you can lean on. You going to kick the door in? Yep. Number 1. Or number 2, you ran out of luck because Detroit's here. The Rams are coming. Green Bay's coming. The Philadelphia Eagles got some making up to do from an opportunity one would argue they may have blown 2 years ago because that was a tight game between them and Kansas City. Jalen Hurts showed out, and he played well. They could have won that Super Bowl, then they nosedived last year after losing both coordinators, and their defense stunk. And offensively, they couldn't seem to get on the same page. Now you got them with Saquon Barkley there. You still got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert there, an offensive line that's considered one of the elite in football. I take all of those things into consideration, and I'm looking at the 49ers and saying about that window, I can't consider it as wide open as it was last year. And here's the question that I'll throw to you, Shannon, first. Brandon Aiyuk, he's still unsigned. You haven't taken care of him yet.
Yes.
I think you have to take care of him in order for that window to still be considered open. What do you think about that situation?
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be in that $30 million range. I think they're somewhere around $25 to $28 million, and that's what they're looking at. I don't think anybody thinks Brandon Aiyuk is the Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill. I don't think they put him in that breath. And so I don't think the 49ers are going to be willing to go to that number, because right now everybody, the wide receivers, Bart, they're looking at somewhere between $35 and $30 million. That's what the top guys got. I think Jamar Chase is going to fall somewhere in there between that 33 and 35 million.
Yep.
And I just don't see Brandon Aiyuk. Now, what you believe you're worth and what a team is going to pay you you're worth is something entirely different. Now, do I believe he's going to sit out the entire year and try to make a statement? No, I don't believe he'll do that. But I think the 49ers want to go somewhere between 25 and 28, and he's looking to get into that $30 million bracket, which I don't believe they're going to put him in.
Bart?
Yeah, but when you look at it, these things are slotted. You take his stats, you take Rod St. Brown, and you look at his stats. He's the route runner. He's the deep threat. Like, Debo is like the gadget guy. And as Debo slows down, they're going to have a guy that can take the top off the defense, and he's that guy, right? You think about when Trent, especially now, I think he has more leverage than any time. You got to compromise McCaffrey. You got to injure not there Trent Williams. You need Aiyuk to carry this offense.
Throwing it deep to a guy like Aiyuk. Like, I look at Debo's at $23.8 million, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, potential. We know he's a stud, but there's the potential there, like Shay just pointed out, he could potentially slow down. We get that part, right? But when you talk about Brandon Aiyuk taking the top off the defense, well, if Josh Allen is throwing you the football, if Joe Burrow is throwing you the football, if Patrick Mahomes or somebody is throwing you the football,
right.
I get that. But as good and as gifted as Brock Purdy is he that kind of thrower that can take advantage and exploit the ability to go deep with the football and utilize somebody like Brandon Aiyuk effectively?
Well, nobody's going to mistake him for Josh Allen.
Okay.
But think about Drew Brees, who didn't have the big arm. It's about when you release the ball, right? They don't measure how far it was where he caught it. They measure how far it was how he goes after the yak. Right, so you talk about last year, right? You talk about that big play against the Lions that broke the game open. It was the deflection that Brandon Aiyuk caught that kind of blew that game open and put it out of reach for the Lions. So yes, he has enough arm to get it there. It's about being able to get it there, but he leans on him. They definitely have a chemistry.
Okay.
You talk about he had 1,300 yards receiving last year. That was tops up there. Everybody thinks about Debo. Debo gets the tough, hard yards. This guy's the route runner, and Shannon knows about the difference between route runners and gadget guys. Route runners are guys that can create separation all the time. Gadget guys are guys you just find ways to get them the ball in their hands because they're able to create separation and yak.
Go ahead, Shannon. Last word.
What they really love about Brandon Aiyuk and Debo is that they're great run blockers. They're wide receivers that will block in the run game. And having played the large part of my career, you do not get on the field if you as a wide receiver, if you do not block. I played for Kyle Shanahan's dad, and Kyle Shanahan is just like his dad. He might be more in your face on your you-know-what for not blocking. That's how Christian McCaffrey, that's how those guys get those long runs, because you have two receivers knocking people off them way down the field. But for me, I understand where he believes he's at, but when you look at Jalen Waddle and you look at Tyreek, I think one guy's about $27.5, $28 million, and the other guy's at $30 million. So I just don't see him getting into that $30 million range. I really don't. And I know what you said about Amon St. Brown, but the consistency, what we've seen this young man do since he's entered into the NFL, Aiyuk did take a step forward last year, especially with the absence of they relied heavily on him once Debo went out and McCaffrey was out. So they had to have somebody that was reliant with the football, and he was that. But I just don't see him. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't earned it, but I just don't see them they're looking at him and says, 32,
Well,
33,
well,
$31 million. I
Shannon,
just don't see that, Bart.
I think they're looking at him, and I think they're saying 30 to 33 million. Hell no, we can't do that. But I think it's primarily because we know we're going to have to pay Brock Purdy a year from now. He's at $1 million now against their cap.
Yeah.
He's due to get, they're projecting he's at a minimum of 52 million, next season. And so you're looking at it from that standpoint, and they're looking down the line, and basically your quarterback is going to end up costing you money, which is happening for a lot of teams throughout the National Football League. If you Aiyuk, you might want to get that 28 million or so, hold on to that and do that thing. By the way, I think Tyreek Hill should be paid more than 30 million. That's just me
I think he
personally.
does make more than 30 million.
I think he's more 30. He should be top 3 pay wide.
Nah, he just redid a deal.